I love romance novels online. This is our live weekly webcast. And today, our guest is Gretchen S.B., contemporary romance author and urban fantasy author. Gretchen, welcome to the broadcast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, we're so glad that you could join us on the program today. Now, Gretchen, it's really exciting. You've got some great news about a new book that you recently come out with.
Yes, I recently published The Doll Making Delta in October, and I'm very excited about it because it is the first contemporary romance that I've published, and so that was kind of a new path for me. So it's been pretty interesting so far.
Now, you say it's the first contemporary romance novel that you published. It's not your first novel by a long shot. You've been writing urban fantasies for a while now?
Yeah, urban fantasies and paranormal romance I've been writing.
That sounds like a little bit of a switch. What's the big difference between contemporary romance and paranormal and urban fantasy? What's the big difference there?
I have to say that contemporary romance is actually much harder, at least for me, because when you're writing paranormal romance and urban fantasy, you have all of these different things going on at the same time, whereas a contemporary romance, you're focused on that main romance, and you can't take a break from it if there's something that you're kind of like, okay, they need to have something else happen to sort of take a break, and then you can enter in something else with paranormal romance and you can't with contemporary. And so it was a challenge for me to see if I could write a book where it was the romance was central and that was the book.
That sounds interesting. With the paranormal and the urban fantasy, you kind of get to make up the rules as you go along. So you can put in whatever you want, but if you're sticking with contemporary, it's kind of, they know that that doesn't happen in real life, huh?
Yeah, that is actually a big deal for me because I love world building and creating my own rules and having to stick with the real world. I do not envy people that write just contemporary romance because I'm like, no, I can't add something weird here. This doesn't happen in real life.
That sounds interesting. So what's your inspiration behind your new book, The Doll Making Delta? What inspired you to write it? What's behind this wonderful new series that you're coming out with?
The whole Delta House series came from kind of a joke that I had with some of my college friends. I had jokingly told one of my really good friends, and she's been my friend since we were like 11 or 12 years old, that someday I was going to write a romance novel about her because at the time she wasn't a big fan of romance novels, and now she reads them. But at the time she was kind of like, oh, don't do that to me. And I went, it's happening. And so I just started writing The Doll Making Delta as sort of, to joke around. And then when I was coming up with the plot points, I had other friends going, wait a second, why is she getting a romance novel and not us? And so the whole series was born from, okay, I'll create romance novels with these caricature characters of all my friends. And so they've been reading The Doll Making Delta because it's been out about a month and going, hey, that one's me. Does that mean I'm getting a book? And part of them are a little horrified isn't the right word, but nervous to see what I'm going to do to their character. And the other ones are really, really excited about it.
Now, this sounds interesting. So is this one of those things where it's true life, but the names have been changed to protect the innocent? Or is it the stories have been changed and you're using the real names?
I'm not using their real names. In some cases, I use their middle names. That way it was sort of an inside joke, but the general descriptions and some of the mannerisms of people are the same. But I put them in different careers than they have regularly, just so that, it wasn't too close to reality, but close enough that they're going to be able to know who they are and see why I picked that for them.
Ah, so you've just stolen their personality and character, and then they have to figure out the code of whether or not it's them or not. That sounds very interesting. So besides your friends, how are the readers taking the new book? Any great reviews on it?
I've gotten one review so far, and she said that she really liked it, and she liked the interactions between the main characters. The one downside she didn't like was that it talks about the other deltas, because the Delta House is it's similar to a sorority almost, and it talks about the other deltas because the central series for me is those women, and she did say she wished that there was less time with them and more with the main characters, and I totally understand that, but at the same time, I love all these women and I wanted to talk about them.
Well, plus you're setting it up for a series, and so you
Yeah.
got to lay the groundwork for the rest of the books in that book. So she just kind of needs to be patient and wait till she understands the rest of it. That sounds like an exciting and fun book to read. So what else do you have on the horizon? Is there anything else new and exciting going on in the writing world of Gretchen S.B?
Yeah, what I'm really excited about is me and a couple other friends of mine, friends that they've written for years but they've never published. I set a project together a couple months ago, and we're all going to write a Christmas anthology called The Christmas Crinkles, and all of the proceeds for that book are going to go to Seattle Children's Hospital. And everybody's writing sort of a short story to go in there that involved this marketing company known as the Crinkle Marketing Company, and it's run by Christopher Crinkle. And everybody has to be involved with that marketing company in some way. So there was sort of, some tricks and interweaving we had to do. But I'm really excited about it because not only is it going to Children's Hospital, which has been great to people in my family, but it means that a bunch of people that I like and would love to write are getting the chance to branch out and try this thing they've always wanted to do.
That sounds very exciting and very interesting. So you've gotten a bunch of your friends together and you're putting together this anthology around the central theme. That sounds fun. And you're using it to raise money for a children's hospital. Those are so important to our communities.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, almost everyone knows somebody whose life's been touched by the kind efforts of the children's hospital.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing that. That's exciting. So that should be coming out somewhere between now and the Christmas holidays, you're hoping?
We're hoping it might end up coming out a couple days after Christmas as well. We already have a date with an editor and all of that, and the deadline for everyone to get their last polished story in is Thanksgiving. So we're coming up at the end.
Yes, you were getting right there. And so it'd be a good time if you want to stretch your Christmas out to grab that right after Christmas and hang on to that Christmas spirit. That sounds exciting. What else is going on in Gretchen's world as far as an author?
The other thing that's going on is I'm currently working on the sequel for my book Biermanns Wolves, which is one of my urban fantasy, no romance series. And I've had people asking me when the sequel was coming out, and I'm finally sitting down and writing it. So I'm also excited about that because I get to revisit these characters that I haven't, spoken to basically in probably a year and a half or so. So I'm hoping to have that out early next year.
That sounds very interesting. So those people that are fans of that series should be watching for that coming out very soon.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Gretchen, we very much appreciate you taking the time out of your busy life. It looks like you're just writing a ton and joining us on I Love Romance Novels Online. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I very much appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome, and we hope that we'll have you on the broadcast again soon. And thank you for tuning in to I Love Romance Novels Online. I hope we'll see you again for another weekly webcast.